Oh, good morning. It's a little early this morning. Um, I got some bad news last night. My mom had a stroke and she's in the hospital. But it was a good reminder that I wanted to share with you guys. I finally got my mom to finish her legal paperwork at the end of last fall. And boy, that was just in the nick of time. Only 6 months later, here she is in the hospital. I'll probably, at the very least, need to help her pay bills for a while. I don't know. I know the stroke affected her right side. Don't really know the whole extent and everything. They're going to do some scans today and they won't really know, I guess, until they get the results back tomorrow on that. We did at least talk about and get set up where I could pay her bills for her a while back, so I can step in and do that. And the place where she lives has 3 or 4 different levels of care. So there's independent living where she has her apartment and has been living, and then they have skilled nursing and they have a dementia unit. I'm thinking she'll probably have to go into skilled nursing for a while. And then I'm anticipating that she'll go through some sort of rehab. I don't know if it'll be neuro rehab, probably neuro rehab, which is with your brain, retraining your brain, but that also will probably involve some physical rehab as well. Which I don't know if they can do that right there in her unit. That's a good question. I'll have to write that down. So that brings up another point. So she might have to go stay somewhere in between to get the rehab. So they do have hospitals, or not necessarily hospitals, but care units where they stay while they're getting rehab. So she might, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, my thoughts are a little scattered, but if they don't have in-facility neuro rehab at her place in skilled nursing, she might have to go to a rehab facility for a while. Yeah, that's a good possibility. I'm still trying to think through everything. There's only so much you can do to prepare ahead of time, and then it's just go time. But luckily we were fairly prepared. I would have liked to have been a little more prepared. I wanted her to do a snapshot of her monthly bills, on a spreadsheet for me. In the event that I did need to pay her bills, I would have a list already, but I'm sure I'll get it figured out. Excuse me. Yeah. So I just wanted to, gosh, I don't know what's going on with my voice. I just wanted to share that it's never too early, especially if you're a Gen Xer or a Gen Z or a millennial. Sorry, not a Gen Z. I don't know how old your parents are if you're a Gen Z, but definitely if you're Gen Xer or a millennial, you need to sit down and have a serious talk with your parents about making sure you know what to do in the event, you know, something happens. You know their history, because I knew that there was a likelihood of her, you know, being incapacitated by a stroke and not necessarily dying. And then, of course, if it's a big enough stroke, it can cause them to pass away. But just having them incapacitated for a while is a whole different deal. So that's something to prepare for as well. Yeah. So I'll be able to step in, like I said, and pay her bills and help get her situated wherever she needs to go next after the hospital. They said she'll be there for probably a few days. And then she may go to a rehab facility, and then she will either go into skilled nursing or go back into her independent living apartment if she's able after rehab. So I don't know how they know if the damage, how much damage the stroke did, or how long term the damage will be, that type of thing. Both her mother and her father had strokes, though, so we knew it was a high possibility that that was going to be her fate. And sadly, her older sister just passed away from a massive stroke. Gosh, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, the stress of that, even though we're not aware of the stress, sometimes we have internal stress that we're not aware of that could have triggered this in my mom, you know. Her sister was about a month away from turning 90, and my mom is 87. So, you know, here's another thing to think about also, even for me and for you, is that no matter how well we take care of ourselves, genetics sometimes overtakes anything good that we do. Because my mom has taken immaculate care of her health, you know, eating wise, and she has always exercised, but I don't know, if there's an area that she could have maybe done more, it probably, maybe a little more exercise, but I know she did walking. You know, at a certain age, there's only so much you can do. And funny, not funny, but a few years ago, she was doing an exercise video in her apartment, and she ended up breaking a bone in her foot. So sometimes, you know, exercise can go the other way and be detrimental. But she always walked. And up until last year, she did go to the gym and do some weights. So she probably did as much as she could. Second thought. All right. I'm just going to leave that there. I'm distracted and need to finish getting ready, and I'm about 3 hours away from where she lives, so we're gonna pack up the dogs and yeah, we're gonna drive over to my boyfriend's. He's gonna drive us to where she is, and we'll go from there. But yeah, please sit down with your loved ones and have a conversation and get things in order, know where things are, have at least an initial plan, be able to step in and pay bills if need be. I think that that's the financial power of attorney. And then there's also a medical power of attorney that they'll need. I am both for my mother because my younger brother passed away 5 years ago. That's another thing. I mean, if it's split between siblings, you need to have a backup person on each of those POAs. Because, I mean, who knew that my younger brother would die before me? He had a fatal brain tumor. Yeah. And he passed away, I think, right before or right after his 51st birthday. Right after his 51st birthday, sadly. Yeah. So, that's always a possibility as well. So make sure you have backups. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.